Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody who has joined us from different part of the world. And welcome to today's webinar on boosting QA speed and quality with AI in testing. Before we get started, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Supratim and I'm from the product growth team here at BrowserStack, and I take care for the GTM initiative for the test management product. And today we have with us Ashutosh. Over to you for a quick introduction.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining in today. So I am Ashutosh Parihar and I'm working in a fintech organization. I lead quality and I believe in making testing faster and smarter. So let's hope for the best and we're gonna share so much insight in this session.
Awesome, Ashutosh. Thank you for being a part of this session. I'm sure the audience is going to benefit a lot from your experience and the insights that you are going to share. Before we get started, couple of regular housekeeping items. This session will run for around 60 minutes and the session is getting recorded and the recording will be made available for all the attendees. All the participants will be muted so that the speakers can present without any interruptions. We will have a dedicated Q&A at the end. I encourage everybody to post your questions on the Q&A window that you see at the bottom, and we will take as much question as possible towards the end.
Thank you, Supritam. So yes, guys. So let's start with a story. I am just sharing my screen. So is it visible, Supritam?
Yes, Ashutosh, you can see your screen.
All right, okay. So it was a regular story in our QA cycle. So it's a Friday evening crisis. So let me explain the scenario. It's a Friday and it's around 6 p.m. and there is a release schedule for the midnight, that is 2 a.m. And we have a number here, like we have a 2000 plus test cases to execute, and we have only 8 hours available for that. So our traditional manual testing or the automation testing would require around 40 hours, which seems to be very difficult in this time space. So the team has the dilemma, either skip test or risk the production disaster, or we can delay the release to further date and impact the business objectives. But this time, as we the seminar is like focusing on the AI, so the team also has a solution. They implemented AI in their system, and the AI powered test management helped them resolve this kind of problem. So what's the final outcome? So the full suite completed in the 6 hours with the 96 defect detection ratio. So what's the impact? Result of this is that the release went live on time and zero critical issues in production. As you can see, the transition between the both side of a QA team, which having a problem and which have a solution. So this is just a fiction. This is a reality. And in this session, we're gonna see how we can implement those. So today's agenda, we will be focusing on the three sections. The problem statement, like why traditional testing struggles to keep pace with today's technology speed. And then we will gonna discuss about some solution, how AI-driven testing can help us solve those problems. And at the end, we will gonna see how the implementation framework help us test leaders to implement the AI into their QA system. So for this, we don't have to be AI expert. We just need a mindset in which we can implement AI gradually with the QA process. So let's start with some problem statement. So first problem is the speed versus quality dilemma, which we all gonna face. So QA team face monitoring pressure to deliver faster without sacrifice quality. Second problem is that the evolution that left testing behind. The technology is evolving with time, but the testing is still in the past. So we as a QA also have to keep pace with our QA processes and how we can move ahead with the development and the technology evolution. Next, we will discuss the industry wake-up call. Here we have some statistics and the data which can reassure that how AI is affecting the QA processes. And at the end of, we will discuss some team pain points which we all as a QA member are facing. So first problem is that QA speed versus quality delta. So there are basically four crises. The first one is the release cycle compressed. So many of you can relate this. Like in the past, we have a quarterly releases of the software, and we get 2 3 weeks for testing the that feature. But with time, those quarterly releases changes to the weekly releases, and now it must almost about the daily release. So there is less time, and we have to deliver more. The second crisis is that testing approach remains stuck in the past, which we already discussed. Everything is moving ahead, but in many places, testing and the QA process is behind the development and the technology evolution. Third crisis is the manual process can't scale to modern demands. We anyhow have to implement the automation with the manual testing to scale up the process and have the faster release cycles. The fourth crisis, the QA team caught between the speed and the quality, and this is the major crisis. So what stats say? That 70% of the QA time spent maintaining the broken test and not creating the new ones. I believe many of you agree with this line. So moving ahead with the next problem. So this timeline graph will show you a graphical representation how evolution is going forward, but testing keep behind that evolution. Like 10 years ahead, there were quarterly releases, and we got 2 week testing cycles in which we can test the product very thoroughly. Then it moves to the monthly releases and pressure start building on the QA team. Then moving ahead with the time, the weekly sprint, agile process comes and testing becomes bottleneck because if we have to be, the QA process have to be in a very fast manner so that they can provide the feedback within that sprint so the development team can complete and resolve all the issues and deliver the product with the quality. Now the daily deployments will affect and traditional testing collapses. With this, the latest time, the AI augment testing emerges as a solution. And by implementing AI in our testing process, we can overcome all these challenges which we are facing with the evolution of time. Then the industry wake up call, we have the stats. It is based on some reports which are available on the internet that 73% of the companies plan to expand AI use in testing. This is the latest report of the 2025. Then 75% actively investing in AI for QA. That is one quality report from the last year. And 80% of the enterprise will adopt AI augmented testing by 2027. So all of these related and giving a sign that how the QA market is going in which direction, and they are how they are eager to adopt the AI in their system. And it's a like a stats also that AI testing market now this year is a 1 billion and it will projected to have a 3.8 billion market by 2032. The CAGR of 20 point something percentage. So last problem statement, our team's pain point. So here I listed, as I discussed with so many people, what are their main pain points. So we are discussing here the seven pain points. The first one and the most important is the test maintenance consuming 60 to 70% of team capacity. So they keep on maintaining the broken test, but the creation of the new one is very less compared to the maintenance. Any UI changes breaking will affect the test cases. And third one, they can't keep up the development velocity, which we already discussed that with the daily release and the weekly releases, the testing will not able to keep up the pace with the development velocity. Fourth one, the flaky test eroding confidence in the automation. The QA team has not the confidence in their answer when the leadership asks how and where, like what is the automation progress with their product. And we have a limited test coverage due to time constraint. We have a manual test execution during releases because manual efforts require more time than the automated and AI augmented test cases, which can hamper the release cycles. And especially for the management, the leadership, the QA leadership, they have a difficulty proving the QA value and ROI to the senior management team. So based on these team pain points, let's have a poll. Like which of these is your number one pain point? So the team will gonna throw a poll on the screen, and you guys have a like couple of seconds to select what is your main number one pain point, and then we will gonna see the result. Let's wait for a couple of seconds more. Mhm. So it's a close competition. So we have a 21% people polling regarding the limited test coverage due to time constraint. And this is like a very fair answer. Then we have a close competitor for test maintenance consuming 60 to 70% of team capacity, and the manual test execution delaying the resource releases. Okay. So thank you for participating in this poll. Let's move ahead with the presentation. Thank you, team, for throwing this poll. Now we have discussed about the problem. Now let's have insights on the solution. So I will be discussing the three main solution which we can achieve for our problem in the QA using the AI. So the first one is the AI accelerated testing. So we will want to see how AI testing from a slowdown into a speed boost. Like we have a smart selection and the self-healing automation, which will help the QA team to release the product faster, smarter, and with a quality. Then we will gonna discuss the how automation eliminates bottlenecks, and like many of the automation engineer have spent their time in maintenance rather than creating the new test and increasing the coverage of the product. Then we will gonna see how real-time insights drive quality, like AI help in reporting, and it will show the data which are most relevant to us instead of showing everything around the product. Let's discuss the first one. So AI accelerate testing based on the four pillars. The first one is the smart test selection. So once the AI team can implement their solution in the QA process, so it will work like this. The AI predicts which tests to run based on the code changes or the coverage. So visualize that you have a team and the AI already implemented. So any product release is there. So the developer commits some changes, and based on that changes, based on that PR, the the machine learning, the AI model will detect what all the areas we can test. So it will run the execution on those particular areas first and provide the result. Then we have an intelligent prioritization, that the high risk area tested first using predictive analysis. This is also maintained by the LLM team. Then we have a self-healing test, auto adapt to UI changes without manual intervention. Many of you are using BrowserStack, and they have these features. So it will basically identify the locator breakage, and it can suggest you with the changes you can implement in your code. And the kind of process is a self-healing test for the locators. Then we have a natural language creation where we will write the plain English for our requirement, AI, and AI generate the test cases for both manual and the automation. So here is the key metric that 50 to 80% reduction in test execution time can achievable with implementing the AI. So next, there is an interesting case study. It is a global leading tech giant, and how they implement AI into their QA process helps them to achieve what is very difficult for them. So the challenges they were facing, that they have thousands of code changes daily across massive code base. They have a millions of automated tests. They gonna run all tests for every change. Then the massive result came up which need to be monitored by that team, and running full suite impossible at scale, because when you want to go very fast, you can't cover all the things. So what AI solution they built? They built the AI-powered smart test selection system. They train the machine learning model on the historical test failure, which learn and correlate the specific code changes and map the dependency based on that relationship, and predict which test needs to be checked for all the commits and PRs. What result they achieve and what result they like publicly announce, they have a 50% reduction in test execution time, which is a very massive achievement. Then they have a maintained same defect detection ratio, significant cost on saving compute resource, and the continuous improvement will be going on through the feedback loops. So the lesson we learned from this case study that smart selection beats executive execution, test smarter and not harder. So it is kind of analogy for us, like we will do smoke testing rather than the regression testing when there's some code change. So similarly, this will also work like that way. It will only pick those tests which are matter the most for that code changes. The next solution we have is the how automation eliminates bottlenecks. So what problem we're going to discuss here? The traditional automation is like 70% maintenance and 30% new test case generation. With every UI changes, there are multiple broken tests, and teams spend more time fixing than building. How AI solution will help with the here with the team? They have a self-healing test which auto detects and adapt to UI changes, which will projected to have a 60-70% maintenance reduction. Then we have an automated test generation. AI create tests from requirements and user stories. So in a browser stack, we also have this feature which can just use the Jira stories and the any PDF documents, and it can generate the test cases. Then we will have a intelligent test data. AI generates realistic, diverse test data, including all test cases specific to those problem areas. Continuous optimization, system learns itself and improve with each iteration with a time. So that's how they train their models. Next solution is the real-time insights. It's basically the how data overload to actionable insights gonna help you here. The problem we are targeting here, test results scatter across multiple tools. We have API test results somewhere else, we have automated test results somewhere else, we have a manual test result somewhere else. And there's no single source of truth for quality metrics. And whenever any senior management asks, are we ready to release? The QA team can't answer confidently because they can't picturize the whole data in many of the cases. So how AI solves this problem? They can generate a centralized dashboard with a single view of all testing activities, which module is at which status, and predictive analytics. AI identifies defect-prone areas before testing, which can be like reported and can be solved before the exact error occur. Then there is an intelligent reporting which identify the pattern and the root causes and trend automatically surface and report the data to the automation team or the development team so that they can fix those issues proactively instead of occurring them on the production on the or other environment. Then we have a real-time quality metrics, live updates on the release readiness. This is also achievable by CI/CD pipelines and all that. So we have discussed the solution. Now the most important part, how we can implement these. So as you majorly are the QA leaders and QA managers, and you are thinking of implementing AI into a QA process. So I will gonna show you the roadmap how to implement AI in your testing. Is a five-step framework which we're gonna discuss in the upcoming slides. So after that, we will gonna see a real example which have a 6 month report. Like there's a statistics with that they have a investment of $120 and they just convert it into the 442% ROI in just 6 months. And we will gonna see how they achieve that. And at the end, we will discuss about some common implementation pitfalls because when you are going to implement these changes, there are some mistakes which already some people do. So we have to learn from their mistakes and we will gonna implement those changes. So our roadmap to AI powered testing. So this five-step framework, you don't need to be an AI expert for this. You just need a clear plan to achievable. So these are the 5 steps. We will start from the beginning. We will start small and we will go big. Then we have to define the exact KPIs. After that, the right tool selection is very important. And then when we have this environment, which is implementing all these 3 steps, then we scale gradually with time, which will be the most secure way of moving ahead. And then after, we will measure and communicate the ROI with our senior management. So let's break down all these 5 step framework into the stepwise presentation. So step one, we will start small and we will think big. So the pilot approach here is that we will begin with the single module, which is not so critical. And we can provide the timeline of 1 to 2 months. So focus area here will be the test prioritization and the selection, self-healing capabilities for stable flow. And we will just automate state generation for one, two modules, not everything. Success criteria, which we will be like set here, we got 30% reduction in the test maintenance time, one or two self-healing test scenarios proven, which are working, team comfortable with the new tools, and the clear ROI demonstrated. Now you are thinking why we have to start small, because it reduces risk and organizational resistance. If you are delaying or you are getting some failure or getting some hurdles, so you can present that thing in a short and crisp data which can be understood by the organization rather than providing the whole automation suite problems at a time. And it will allow team to learn without pressure, which is very, very important. Then it will build confidence through the quick wins. The small wins leads to the bigger wins, and easier to course correct if needed. That's what I discussed. If somehow we like deviate from the path, we can quickly come back to the original path. So that is the benefit of starting small. Next, we have to define your KPIs. Without KPIs or without any rules, we can't achieve anything. This is not for the QA, this is for the general in the our lifestyle also. So we will define some metrics before implementing those API into a QA system. So here are the few examples, like we have to set some efficiency metrics, like we have to target the 40-50% reduction in the execution time. The test creation time we need to 60 to 80% faster. Then we can define quality metrics like defect detection rate should be 30 to 50%, test coverage should gonna be increased by 25%, and production defect leakage we will gonna reduce it by 40% or 30% based on the product criticality. Then we have business metrics which will be important for the leadership. So how frequently we're gonna release, we will set it a double two-time increase in the release. We will target the mean time resolution, how much time it will require to resolve any issues. We're going to reduce that. We're going to reduce the test cost per release. So based on these criteria, we're going to calculate the ROI and we're going to present that to the senior management. So most of you already know the how we can calculate the ROI, but just for like there are some folks which are new to QA. So for them, the basic refreshment. So ROI will calculate the net benefit which we achieve minus the cost of investment which we invested in the initial process, and we can divide by the cost of investment and multiply it by 100. This way we will get the ROI. So I just put a simple example, like for example, if company needs spend $50,000 on an AI test management tool and realize a total benefit in save time, reduced defects, and etc. of $130 in an year. So net benefit here is $130, and the cost of investment is 50,000. And based on this solution formula, here they got the 160% ROI. That will be gonna like by the senior management. So if we gradually increase and start small, we can present this data more early rather than having it to 6-7 month time frame. Moving ahead, select the right tools. So this is very generic things, either in AI or in any other field. We have to select the right tools to get the desired result. So the right tools consist of the CI/CD integration, which tool we need to be implement based on our requirement, how test results automatically trigger on code commits, and how faster the feedback the developer can get based on the CI/CD tools. Then we have a self-healing section where we have to use the tool which provide the best use case of the self-healing and can achieve us reduce the maintenance part by 60 to 70%. Then we have a natural language test creation, like writing plain English and no coding required. We have to select the best low code or no code tool, which can foster the test authoring part and can focus on the more on the testing. Then predict analytics tool, which will be helpful in risk-based test prioritization and defect prediction. Then most important, centralized dashboard, the reporting part. We have a single source of truth so that whenever anyone asks what is the success ratio of the build, we can confidently answer to those questions. Then we should also focus on the cross platform support, like web mobile API and multiple browser and cloud-based execution, where definitely BrowserStack can help you here. Step 4, like once we achieve a pilot project and we deliver that thing and we provide the ROI to the leadership, then we can gradually scale up our automation, our management, and our AI implementation. So here is a like a four phases how we can scale gradually. So the critical user journey. So first 2 months, we will be focusing on 10 to 15 most critical parts of the product. For example, login, payment, checkout flows, and which is highly visible features. The goal here is to prove value quickly so that we can show the result how faster we can achieve this. Then come the second phase, that is the regression shoot. So we have to expand to full regression testing, automate repetitive test scenarios, implement self-healing at scale. So the goal here is to reduce the regression time by 50% so that team can work on the most critical section of the product. Then on the phase three, which is the time period of 5 to 6 months, the full test shoot with AI implemented. Now we have implement the automation properly. Now we will gonna implement organization-wide AI adoption, which will include predictive analysis, cross-team collaboration, and the predictive analysis for the reporting and all that things. The goal here is to have a 70 to 80% automation coverage. Then the continuous optimization. This will gonna ongoing process. We will be monitoring, improving, and analyzing all the setup we have already created. So here is the success pattern. Each phase builds on the previous one. Whenever we achieve one success on one phase, we will move on to the second phase. Then the team gains confidence and expertise. Slowly and with time, team gains confidence and they have more hands on this AI implemented system. Then the resistance decrease as value becomes clear. So once the goals are visible and they are visible as a achievable, so the resistance and any other bottlenecks gonna decreases with time. And by the month of six, AI testing become the new normal in your organization. So the last step of the framework is like measure and communicate ROI. How are we gonna measure this? So first measure is the time saving, like how much are we saved per execution, how much time we save in maintenance time, how much faster we are releasing our cycles. The second measure is the cost saving, like reduce manual testing hours into the hourly rate. We get some figures which we're going to present to the senior management. Then we have a lower infrastructure cost as AI get implemented and we provide like implement multiple automation and parallel support. We will gonna cost low infrastructure cost. Then we have as we have a few production incidents or bug on the production, it will definitely gonna save so much cost. Then third measure is the quality improvement, like defect detection rate increase, production defect reduction, customer satisfaction score gonna increase. So this is the third measure, how we improve and measure by the quality. The fourth measure is the team productivity. How much time team gonna save for more strategic testing, how much coverage is increasing, and the team morale and competition keeps on increasing. This way we will measure the team productivity. And like what will be the communication strategy here? So we have a monthly dashboard to leadership. The QA lead or the QA manager can provide the test data and all the status to the management based on this quarterly business reviews with metrics. We have a proper data to sit that business meeting and celebrate win publicly, team meetings and newsletters. Sharing the success stories will be a very good motivation for the team. And similarly, like sharing success stories across organization. So next here I have like fetch out some insights from a company which implement, it's a fintech company which implements the AI into their system, and this is their 6 month calculation, the ROI, and we're gonna just see how they achieve this thing. So the initial investment is a $120,000 on tools and training. The time they save are 800 hours saved per month, and they're gonna bill the per QA as a $75 per hour, which equals to 60,000 per month. And for the 6 month, that price goes to $360,000. And as they have a scenario like if they prevent the four critical bugs, which gonna cost them $50,000 per bug, they save the $200 per 6 month cycle. And the infrastructure saving, like reducing test infrastructure cost by $15,000 per month, which will gonna result 90,000. So if we calculate all that, we will gonna have a total benefits of $650,000. So if we calculate their ROI, it will, based on the formula, we will get a 442% of ROI. What this will show, this is show the clear quantifiable benefits based on time, quality, and infrastructure from AI adoption in their testing. The ROI calculation follow industry standards and the real world studies. This is not just a hypothetical number. This is a proper report from their uh, company, and these are based on the industry benchmarks and commonly cited to automation ROI discussion. Like, suppose when you provide this data to your leadership, they're gonna appreciate that and they're gonna get the exact idea like where their money gonna investment and what is the outcome coming from that. So this, till this date, suppose you have implemented the AI. Now you will learn, you will fail sometime, you will learn sometime. So next we're gonna discuss some implementation pitfalls. Like, few, these are the problems solved by faced by many problems and what are the solution for that. So because I want, if you're gonna implement this, you have some pre-data to ensure that those failures will not be come to your process. So first pitfall is that boiling the ocean. Like many of the new people are trying to automate everything at once. That is a major fallback. We have to start small and then scale gradually. The pitfall two is that ignoring change management. Focus only on tools, neglect people. The invest in training and celebrate wins, involve team in decision, like make the team happy and confident. They will they will gonna work more creatively and provide more solution. And it's not just about tools, it's about the people well-being, and they will gonna take care of your product. The third pitfall is the wrong success metrics. Like, we are measuring everything on the number of tests or number of bugs. That is very wrong approach. The solution should be on the focus on business impact, release frequency, and defect reduction. Like, what are the most critical module of my project? How frequently we are releasing to the market, and how much defects are getting leaked or prevented on those releases. That are the real metrics which everyone has to focus on, rather than the number of test cases and the number of bugs. Then the next pitfall, number four, is the set and forget. So many organizations implement their automation and some AI augmented or some smart system, but they never optimize. They keep on using that. Solution is that we have to continuously working on that, monitoring that, and keep on optimizing it with the time so that it can keep up with the technology evolution. The last pitfall is the lack of executive support. So QA only initiative without leadership buy-in. The QA team is doing something, but leadership is not interested in them, or they have no idea about what the outcome it can give to them. So this is a very important pitfall. The solution is to that the QA team have to present the business to the business holder or stakeholders or the management very early with the proper data, so that they can analyze those ROI, those data quickly, and they can take the action on that. So these are the steps for the implementation, and these are all the insight which I want to give you. And thank you everyone having your time and attention and listening to me. And I'm sure many of you gonna implement these framework and start gradually, start with a small pilot program into the QA process with this AI augmented solution. And I wish you good luck that you can gradually scale up to the whatever your desire with this AI augmented solution. Thank you, and over to you, Supritam.
Yeah, thank you, Ashutosh. This was pretty insightful, especially from the real world examples to, the entire framework that you walked us through. I'm sure the audience is going to benefit from them. Now, this brings me to the next part of this session where, we will deep dive into how at BrowserStack we are innovating with AI. We will be showing you two interesting demos of two of our AI agents as well. So, I'll quickly share my screen here and cool. So as Ashutosh just walked us through the, how organizations can implement AI, and AI in general is, no longer about when, it is how. And at BrowserStack, we are at the forefront of this innovation, and especially in the test management space, which we have completely reimagined with AI. It's no more a platform to store or manage test cases. We have now best in class AI agents for test planning, creation, execution, validation, and maintenance that will help you accelerate the entire testing cycle. Here you can see how we are embedding AI agents across the entire testing journey. So to begin with, test planning is basically where AI can help you create comprehensive test plans by analyzing various inputs like PRDs, specifications, and historical test data. For this, we are working on a test planning agent for this. The next phase, which is the test creation phase, which is one of the most time consuming phases for QA teams, right? And here we have three agents. One is test case generator agent. We will shortly see the demo of this agent, how one can quickly create and convert any artifact, into test cases. We have the low code authoring agent to convert your manual test cases into automated test. And there is a new agent that we are working on. It is supposed to go, will be ready in this quarter, which is a test data generator agent, which will generate diverse and customizable set of test data. The next phase that you see is a test execution phase, where we have a test selection agent that helps you identify the most relevant tests in a test run. And after execution, validating failures and flakiness is critical. There are some questions around this as well in the chat window I could see. So we have a test failure analysis agent which can help diagnose the entire root cause and flag the flaky test and help team focus on the genuine issue rather than the noise, accelerating your entire testing cycle. And the last phase, which is the test maintenance phase. Now, we often see over time that, the test repositories become very bloated with duplicate test cases, outdated test cases. Now, AI can really ensure that your repositories remain clean and relevant throughout. And we have a new agent which is currently in beta, which is a test deduplication agent. We will be demoing that as well in this session. And we have another agent upcoming, which is a test maintenance agent that would automatically update test cases whenever there are changes in your scope or in the features. So together, all these AI agents can power a smarter, faster, and more reliable testing workflow. So next, we will watch one of these agents in action, which is the test case generator agent.
Writing effective test cases is the backbone of QA, but it can be a tedious process. Teams spend countless hours interpreting vague inputs, uncovering edge cases, and manually crafting detailed test scenarios. What makes it even more challenging is the chaos of fragmented requirements, scattered across Jira tickets, Confluence pages, PDFs, Figma designs, screenshots, and even Slack threads, creating confusion, missed scenarios, and painful delays. Introducing BrowserStack's AI-powered test case generator agent that analyzes product requirements and instantly generates context-rich test cases while auto-filling key test case fields. Next, let's see the test case generator agent in action. In this first scenario, we'll see how the test case generator agent can create test cases from a well-structured product requirement doc. We're working with a clearly defined requirement for searching for a product on Apple's website and adding it to the cart. This PRD includes all the essentials, such as feature descriptions, expected behaviors, functional requirements, and acceptance criteria. Once uploaded, the AI agent begins analyzing the document. In just seconds, it generates test cases for a variety of scenarios, like product search, navigation, customization, and more, without the manual effort of pouring through lengthy documentation. And it doesn't stop at the obvious. The agent also identifies potential edge cases based on the context in the PRD, scenarios that often get missed during manual test case creation. Each test case comes fully populated with all key fields: description, preconditions, test steps, and expected results, creating comprehensive and effective test cases. You can quickly review the generated test cases, make inline edits as needed, and add selected cases to your folders, all within the same workflow. This AI-driven process transforms hours of test case writing into just a few minutes. Now let's look at how AI-assisted workflows offer even more flexibility. Say you want to generate only functional test cases from the same PRD. Simply upload the document and enter a prompt. For example, generate only functional test cases. The agent will tailor the output to your request, analyzing both the prompt and the document to produce precise, relevant test cases that match your intent. In reality, teams often deal with fragmented, ambiguous requirements, PRDs missing key elements like user personas, clear goals, or acceptance criteria. In this example, we've uploaded one such unstructured document. Despite the lack of clarity, the test case generator agent analyzes the available information, understands the underlying intent, fills in the gaps, and generates well-structured, comprehensive test cases within seconds. Even when the inputs are messy, the output is clean, actionable, and test-ready. This is just the beginning. The test case generator agent isn't limited to structured product docs. It's built to understand requirements wherever they live. From Jira stories to Confluence docs to design files, multilingual inputs, and more. Our AI is designed to handle the real-world messiness of modern product development. Because test cases shouldn't depend on perfect documentation. They should adapt to the way your team actually works. With the test case generator agent, teams are creating test cases up to 90% faster and improving test coverage by over 50%. That means faster releases, fewer bugs, and more confidence with every deployment. BrowserStack is reimagining test management with best-in-class AI agents, making test creation and execution faster, smarter, and future-ready.
Well, that was a quick overview about on our test case generator agent. And next, we have a demo of one of our very latest agent called test deduplication agent, which is currently in beta, and excited to showcase this very new agent to all of you.
As software projects scale, test suites get cluttered with redundant cases, where the same functionality is tested repeatedly. Teams end up wasting time writing test cases that already exist. Redundant tests inflate coverage metrics. And finally, every duplicate adds to the maintenance overhead. Introducing BrowserStack's AI-powered test duplication agent that automatically identifies duplicate test cases and provides smart recommendations to merge or archive them. Let's see the agent in action. The test deduplication agent scans every test case in your project and identifies duplicates with precision. It not only highlights the total number of duplicate test cases, but also categorizes them into exact and semantic duplicates, giving you complete clarity. Exact duplicates are test cases with identical titles, steps, and expected results. Semantic duplicates refer to test cases that cover the same feature, goal, and functionality, but are written differently. The agent also comes with an inbuilt FAQ assistant, putting instant answers to your queries at your fingertips. The test deduplication agent generates a similarity score to show overlap between test cases. It shows why two test cases have been marked as duplicates, including the reason, title, ID, and location for easy traceability. It also highlights your own test cases, helping you quickly prioritize what matters most. The test deduplication agent not only detects duplicates, but compares them side by side, summarizing overlaps and differences. It then provides smart suggestions to merge similar cases or archive outdated ones. Here, the agent merges the semantic duplicate test cases into a single version while preserving all key details. The agent provides a preview of the edits before finalizing and merges the duplicate test cases once confirmed. For exact duplicates, the agent enables you to merge them into a consolidated test case, The test deduplication agent helps you boost QA productivity by eliminating the need to write and maintain redundant test cases. Accelerate release cycles with an efficient test suite leading to faster test execution times. Increase confidence in quality by providing accurate coverage metrics and a reliable test suite.
Well, that was a quick glimpse into the latest agent that we have added to the test management suite. I hope you all found it interesting. With this, we come to the end of this session. So, Ashutosh, there are some questions I think around the metrics and the KPIs, which I think you have sort of spoken about in the while explaining the framework, right? So there is a question around, can you some give examples of KPIs, which I think you have sort of spoken about. Then there is a question around, are there any metrics on how many bugs were not detected by AI testing and that went to the production? Any
Mhm. Okay. Okay, let's that KPI question. Okay, can you please give examples of KPIs? Okay. So like whenever we're implementing anything, we have to set some rules. That rules is kind of a KPI. So KPI can be set on the different section. Like it can be based on the organizational, technical, and on a personal level. So if we, as we have in our slides also, so like number of tests, if you can see that number of test cases generated per week, that can be example of KPI, and how much time it will take to maintain a test case that is broken. So that's kind of an example of KPI. If you want it more clear, like if we discuss about the efficiency of the KPI, we can have it like cycle per time reduction, like how much faster each release cycle complete when your test is executing, and what is the test case speed, like the either the manual or the automation tester, how in how much time they are completing the test, and we are targeting that 3 to 5 times faster with the AI system. If we talk about the business impact KPIs, then the most important is the cost per release, like how much total QA effort is required to release that phase of the product, and that would be target as a KPI for 20 to 30%. And ROI is the major one of the example of the KPIs. Like we have to be maximum more, uh, the more the ROI, the better it would be. And the defect cost avoided, like whatever the bugs comes on QA and whatever the bugs comes on production, the production resolution is almost cost more than the fixing on the QA. So that we can also set up as a KPI. And for the QA person, the quality KPI, like how much defect detection rate is there after going on the production? What is the flakiness rate like for the automation? You have 10 test case, five, why are they randomly failing? So that is also the example of the KPIs.
Thank you, Ashutosh.
Mhm.
Uh, there is one more question, Ashutosh. I think again related to the session is, how does this work in a highly regulated industry which have long cycles of getting their automated test cases validated before they can be effectively used?
Okay, that's a good question. So what I like what from my perspective, you are referring the regulated industry, the person is referring, it may be some fintech or the banking or some this kind of company. So as I am also from the fintech, so how can this work? So is it very crucial to save your data, especially in the fintech? So what you can do is you can use the AI and automation around the basic sets of test cases, like data generation, checking some APIs. But your core product, your core section of the test will be separate, and you can take it in a general automation way. So because as you know, the AI is still in the learning phase, so it's not feasible to provide all of your data, all of your testing into the AI. So this way you can like manage the high regulated industries. You can set up into the two section, which can be confidential and which cannot be confidential. You can throw your non-confidential data into the AI and implement those for the faster release, and you can separately handle your uh, confidential data using your in-house automation and all the those approaches.
Great. Uh, Again, Ashutosh, one question around automation generally comes in second cycle and in regression. Is there any way to use AI in manual testing to speed up first in the cycle?
I think the example is the BrowserStack only.
Yeah.
We just saw in the demo. So the phase come from before the automation, the manual testing, and from before that is the test case generation. So we have the AI system, even the BrowserStack, and you can also create your own, and you can directly use the Chat GPT. So whatever the requirement, whatever the document or in the Jira stories, based on the tools capability, you can provide those data to that AI system and it can generate your test cases, test scenarios, test plan, automation test. So this way you leverage the AI before going into the automation. You gonna save so much time of brainstorming. You just have to monitor and analyze what data AI provide, and you can just put your human brain into that, and you can just move it ahead with the QA process. I hope this answers your question.
Thanks, Ashutosh. I think there's a question for the agent that we demoed. Is it supporting to integrate with Azure DevOps? Yes, it's a part of our roadmap. I think this feature is going live sometime this quarter. So we are continuously increasing our input format and strengthen the agent. So it's a part of our roadmap. And I think, Ashutosh, one question, I think this is slightly generic. How do you implement predictable analysis? I think something you briefly touched upon while talking about, the AI
Yes,
part. So I think it's a little bit related to that.
yes, yes. This is like more related to the LLM part, the large language model, and the this kind of thing. So they have a dedicated AI team for that. So I just give you the high level insight how this predictive analysis work. So they just AI is in the learning phase, so you can't just use the predictive analysis in the first or the second go. What is happening like on the gradually like 6 to 8 months is the 6 to 8 months or weeks is kind of the learning phase of the AI. So you using that system into your testing process, so it will see that which kind of bugs are more repeating with every cycle. So it will filter out those 5 10 test cases that it is usually happening all the time. It will store it somewhere in their vector database from where they can just quickly search it out, and it will predict that it might gonna fail in this release also. So it will consider that test case for this test execution cycle. And another example is that when this keeps on learning, so the self-healing test uh, section is also comes under this. So like when we are checking that whatever the test cases keeps on failing, the self-healing analysis also work on that. So it will gonna keep fixing those failures depending on the capability of that AI model you are using.
Thank you. We have just 1 more minute left, so I'll probably take one more question. And for the rest of the questions which have been shared, we'll definitely get back to you with the responses. So there is one question around, is low code different from AI powered testing? So AI powered testing, when we say it, is basically how we are embedding AI across the entire, the testing cycle. Low code is one area where manual tests can be converted into automation test without having the knowledge of the automation script, right? That's a very high level differentiation that we have. Hope that answered the question. Come to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, for joining this session and sharing your valuable experience. And we look forward to having you all in our next event or webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.
Thank you, everyone. I could also become.